Okay, you call yourself a Republican. Are you okay with cutting Medicaid? Are you okay with cutting food programs that feed the needy? Are you okay with cutting energy programs that keep the heat on for seniors and kids? Are you for that? Because that's what the Trump bill does. It cuts 13.5 million people off of health care. 13.5 million people will have no coverage if this passes. Tens of thousands of kids will be kicked off of food programs. They won't be able to get food. And countless numbers of seniors will have their power shut off at important times like during the winter. This is the Republican bill. And my question to you is, do you call yourself a Republican? And if you do, why are you for something so terrible? I'm just asking.
Hey, MAGA. Republicans decided last night, early wee hours, to sneak in cuts to Medicare. Medicare. Not just Medicaid. Now it's Medicare. They just snuck it in. You know why? Because they need money for those tax cuts. That's all they care about.
So last night, while all the Americans were sleeping, the House was busy passing that big, beautiful bill cutting Medicaid and food stamps to the poorest people. That's right. It goes on to the next step after changes have been made that we have no idea what they are. Considering that Republicans that voted against it the other day said there wasn't enough cuts to Medicaid and food stamps, while these sit in the Congress and get free health care, while they say you to the rest of us. How in the world can you still support these
So in order to pay for Trump's tax cuts to the rich, the Republicans are cutting $1 trillion from Medicaid and food stamps. We're going to give more to the 1% by taking more away from those living below the poverty line.
Do you MAGA nurses, I can't believe that's a fucking demographic that exists, but do you MAGA nurses not realize that if these Medicaid cuts come through, you're going to lose your job? Like, nursing homes and rural hospitals and mental health facilities, those places are going to shut down. You're not going to have a job. Like, nursing, which has always been this safety net, like, oh, I can always find a job anywhere, it's going to completely ruin it. Like, I know you don't care about poor people or elderly or disabled, but have some fucking self-preservation. Your cult is so embarrassing.
And confirmed. Not only will the big beautiful bill be cutting Medicaid and SNAP, it'll also be cutting Medicare as well, in the amount of $1.2 trillion.
What the hell? What the hell? What the hell? What the hell? They are cutting Medicare now. In the dark of night, the Republicans added $500 billion in cuts to Medicare. Let me tell you, as someone who's just gone through this with my mother, Medicare is wildly underfunded. The benefits, even with the supplement my mother paid extra for, were horrible. She could barely get out of bed to use the restroom safely without falling, and they would only pay for someone to come over the house 1 hour a week. The only facilities that would actually take her for full-time care had multiple violations for elder care abuse, were disgustingly filthy, and smelled of urine in the lobby. Cutting Medicare is an absolute horror show. It is absolutely cruel. You are talking about the elderly at the end of their life. It is already a horrible program that needs reform and more funding. And they, in the dark of night, added $500 billion worth of cuts. They are giving that money to the billionaires and to the wealthy in tax cuts. They don't care about any of us. They don't care if we go, and they don't care how horrible it is when we do.
No politician in his right mind would ever vote on a bill to cut Medicaid, especially a politician who has a midterm coming up. That, folks, is complete political suicide. But they're going to do it anyway. And that tells me one thing. They have midterms taken care of. Because it just does not match. Like you can't put those two together and make that make any type of sense whatsoever. I mean, you are going to hurt the American people like very few politicians have ever hurt the American people. And you know that you were going to hurt the American people. And you lied about whether you were going to hurt the American people by cutting Medicaid. How many times did we hear that they weren't going to touch that when we all knew there was no way to get the figure they wanted without cutting it? And instead of taxing the rich, all right, they're just going to take from us. Complete, utter political suicide. But that's in normal times, and we don't live in normal times. But for this to happen just tells me what's coming. And I guess there's nothing we can do about it unless we get this regime out of DC.
Good morning, everybody. Just when you think Republicans couldn't fuck shit up anymore, they decide in their committee meeting last night at 1 a.m., mind you, that they're going to potentially add in $500 billion worth of Medicare cuts to this new budget bill. That's on top of them cutting Medicaid, SNAP benefits, and other things. I want to know what fucking alternate reality these people are living in. Republican Representative from Missouri, Jason Smith, said this. He said, and I quote, "Americans voted for an America where workers and families will thrive again. Main Street and rural towns will grow again. And America wins again." Whose America are you talking about there, bud? Because it sure as hell isn't the people in your state when you cut their Medicare and Medicaid benefits. It sure as hell isn't the people in my state. So who are you talking about? God forbid Republicans increase taxes on billionaires. God forbid. Because they wouldn't have to cut Medicaid and Medicare if they just made billionaires pay the taxes that they actually owed or made them pay a fair share of taxes. It's like they somehow think that if they raise taxes on billionaires and super wealthy, that they're somehow going to end up destitute within like 5 months. Obviously, that's not going to happen. Elon Musk is not going to be eating beans and weenies anytime soon because he runs out of fucking money from paying extra taxes. Jeff Bezos is not going to be on a street corner begging with a fucking cup in his hand because he can't bring in enough money from Amazon and all his stock options. It's just not fucking logical. But you know what it is? It's the fact that those billionaires donate more money to campaigns like this dipshit from Missouri and to people like Mike Johnson and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert and all those fucking pieces of trash in Congress. On both sides, actually. They're the reason that people in my family may lose their Medicaid.
You are making the biggest cuts to Medicaid in American history. As a result of this bill, nearly 14 million Americans will lose their health care, and millions more will pay higher premiums, co-pays, and deductibles. That's just a fact. Hospitals will close, nursing homes will shut down, and people will die. And not a single one of the proposals in your bill is about making Medicaid work better. Not one. Your bill doesn't save Medicaid. Your bill destroys Medicaid. We can and we should make Medicaid work better. Absolutely. Instead, your bill creates more red tape, more hurdles, and kicks struggling people off their health insurance. Now, who asked for this garbage? I mean, more red tape? Oh, boy. And if that's not bad enough, you are making the biggest cut to food assistance in American history.
Well, yeah, the groundwork is there to cut Medicaid. It also is laying the groundwork for, they don't exactly call it cuts, but Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid are both in here, or all three in here. And the line that they're using is, it is to protect these three core programs from fraud, waste, and abuse. We all know what that means. So, the other thing that is in here is to raise the debt ceiling $4 trillion. I've got my coffee. Let's go talk about it, because this is going to change the lives of 8.5 million people, and not in a good way.
I think a lot of us are pretty sick of calling our state representative, but if there was ever a time to do it, you should do it right now. The irony of them calling it a big, beautiful bill is so disgusting. I don't know what is beautiful about slashing $880 billion to Medicaid. This is going to have catastrophic consequences. Hospitals will close. The amount of people that are going to lose their coverage, prenatal care, addiction care, nursing home care, long-term care, people who can't take care of themselves and need to be placed somewhere. That's Medicaid. That is Medicaid. And you want to slash $880 billion from this friggin' crucial program for tax cuts for the rich. I am so disgusted. If you are a conservative person, I don't know what happened to your soul.
Anything other than a vote protecting and expanding Medicaid is literally a vote against people living. It's a vote against people living. And who are the main recipients of Medicaid? It's literally elderly people and children. You're voting against grandparents and children. These ongoing talks of, oh my gosh, third meeting in the middle of the night. Yeah, it's because they know they're doing evil things. Because I grew up on our kids. I grew up on Medicaid. I'm not on Medicaid anymore, but it should be there. What the heck do we pay taxes for? We get taxed whenever we make money, whenever we buy food, whenever we have things like a car. We're taxed constantly. And the least that we could literally ask is knowing that kids aren't gonna die of cancer because their parents are poor, or that our elderly are going to be able to afford their Medicare because their Part B literally covers it.
My family will be royally screwed if this budget bill gets passed. First things first, my husband works in a nursing home. If Medicare and Medicaid get cut, in a rural area in Ohio, what's the likelihood of that nursing home still being a thing once these cuts take effect? On top of that, if this bill got approved, my son will be 14 when these effects take place. My son is disabled. As a 14-year-old boy in the state of Ohio, you get assigned a caseworker that is with you, a social worker, okay, that is with you in high school. And they help you transition into adult life. They help you transition with skills and with therapy, several different factors. And that gets billed to Medicaid. Then we have to factor in the fact that they are trying to create block grants for all the states, which means they give the states one bucket of money and say, here you go, spend it how you need to, okay? And they're just saying, we trust that you're going to spend it this way, which increases the chance for our kids to not have funds for IDEA. You might be thinking, well, you still have rights, you can sue, right? The Republican administration cut half of the Department of Education offices across all states. And these departments help protect civil cases, which means it would take 2 years or more for his case to even be heard. Not completed, heard. AKA, we are not going to have a way to fight back. In the end, people need to face the fact that this is not budget reform. They are trying to erase our most vulnerable population. When we gut protections for our most vulnerable, we are not saving money, we are destroying lives.